My boyfriend was the top scorer in the college entrance examination, yet he applied to a diploma mill. I persuaded him to change his college choice to the computer major at a prestigious university after graduation. We earned millions a year and had a happy married life. However, on the day his first love got married, he picked up the computer mainframe and broke my leg. If you hadn't stopped me, I could have gone to the same university as Eleanor. I should be the one marrying her. It turned out that he had always harbored a grudge against me for persuading him to change his college application back then. In front of our child, I was beaten to death by domestic violence. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn. Right in front of me on the computer screen, all of my boyfriend's college applications were for the diploma mill that his first love had applied to. He turned his head and asked me with a smile, "Honey, what do you think of my college choices? Honey, what do you think of my college choices?" Hearing my boyfriend's words, I subconsciously shivered and covered my broken right leg. Don't hit me. In my past life, on the day his first love got married, William's handsome face twisted and he rushed into the study with red eyes. Ignoring the fact that I was in a remote meeting, he directly picked up the computer mainframe and broke my right leg. On the other side of the computer, hundreds of online colleagues witnessed me being beaten and let out panicked shouts. Our child rushed into the room to protect me, but he was kicked away, and the little figure tumbled several meters away in the chaotic study. At the moment when my life was coming to an end, I was covered in blood, looking blank. "William, why are you doing this?" He viciously smashed the computer mainframe onto my head. Blood splattered. Before I died, I heard him say through gritted teeth, "It's all because you persuaded me to change my college application back then. Otherwise, I could have gone to the same university as Eleanor. I should be the one marrying her." So, he had always hated me for that. He said that if I hadn't persuaded him to change his application, he might have been able to be with his first love as he wished. How ridiculous! My child and I combined were not worth a single wedding invitation from his first love. "Honey?" In the small internet CIF, William's call brought me back to reality. "What do you think of my college choices?" he asked again. I looked at the faintly glowing computer screen for each blank college application field. He had applied to the literature department of the diploma mill. I blinked and calmly lowered my eyes. "Oh, it's pretty good, William, this time. You shouldn't hate me, right?" Hearing my words, William was stunned for a moment, and his gaze was scrutinizing. "Honey, do you really think my college choices are good?" I stared at him steadily. "Don't ask for my opinion. This is your own thing. You make the decision yourself." William shifted his gaze uneasily. After a few seconds, his finger on the mouse hesitated. "Maybe I should fill in a few more different college applications. I couldn't help but sneer in my heart. So he himself knew that it was a waste to apply to a diploma mill with his provincial top scorer's grades. In my past life, I tried so hard to persuade him not to waste his 18 years of hard work and questioned him about how he could apply to an unknown junior college after finally becoming the provincial top scorer. He finally agreed to change his application. At that time, I thought I had convinced him, but now it seems that he just went along with it. In the end, he hated me for making him change his application and even killed me with his own hand. Suddenly, William's phone rang urgently. He secretly glanced at me a few times. "Hello, Eleanor." It was his first love. "Eleanor." On the phone, "Top student, where did you apply? Can I come and visit you later?" Eleanor's voice was clear, with a rising inflection at the end. She was the big sister in school, with dyed hair and manicured nails. Yet she had an innocent face. Every day after school, different socialites and hooligans would pick her up on motorcycles, taking her to go racing and fight. Hearing Eleanor's voice, William's face softened. "I've filled in my college applications, but I'll keep it a secret from you for now. I'll give you a surprise later." As he said this, he finally made up his mind and clicked the mouse. "Do you confirm to submit the college application information? Once submitted, it cannot be modified." He pressed confirm. The web page started loading. After a few seconds, it jumped to the submission success page, and the gray screen indicated that it was uneditable. While they were on the phone, my eyes also fell on my own computer screen. My grades were not as good as William's, but I was still ranked among the top in the province. Back then, My first choice was the computer department at Tsinghua University, but just because I was one rank lower, I missed the chance to enter Tsinghua University. This made me, who had a complex about prestigious universities, feel resentful for many years, just one rank difference. I really wasn't willing to accept it. This time, if William doesn't apply to the computer department at Tsinghua University, can I then move up to that admissions pot and be admitted to Tsinghua University? After filling in my college applications and seeing that William had also hung up the phone, I said, "William, let's break up." William and I were childhood neighbors, and I thought I knew him well, but it wasn't until my previous life before I died that I found out his first love was Eleanor. He married me only because his mother fancied my family's money. Now that I've been reborn, I just want to stay as far away from him as possible. William's eyes widened. "You're willing to break up with me?" In his eyes, I had been secretly in love with him for years, and even the confession was made by me. I was simply his admirer. What's there to be reluctant about? Well, then it's over between us. In William's stunned gaze, I picked up my bag and left neatly. From a distance, I heard his angry shout. "Iris, don't you regret it?" No, it's him who shouldn't regret. In the following days, I started looking for computer projects online in advance. In my past life, my college days were like most people's, slack and drifting with the current. In the year of graduation, I signed with a small company, worked overtime all day with a meager salary, and was even emotionally manipulated by my boss. Only then did I wake up, start focusing on doing algorithm problems and revising my resume, and finally, after several job hops, I signed with the same big internet company where William worked. And my salary doubled. This time, I will definitely not take any detours and will plan my life well. In the few days after submitting the college applications, the Williams family was extremely proud. Mrs. Brown didn't know that her son had applied to a diploma yet, and she boasted downstairs every day that her son was the provincial top scorer. In the community, many high school students took the college entrance examination this year. Mrs. Brown deliberately went to upset the parents of students who had failed the exam. How could someone not even get into a key university? Is there something wrong with their IQ? Hurry up and send them to the hospital to have a look. When she saw me, she would also look down on me and my parents with her nostrils in the air and a sidelong glance. How many points did Zixi get? Not as high as my son, right? I say. Girls are not as smart as boys. My dad was so angry that he was about to go up and argue, but I grabbed his arm. I casually perfunctorily replied. Yes, Aunt Brown. Whatever you say is right. When we got home, I persuaded my parents. Why get angry with such a person? Just wait for them to bring about their own downfall. Sure enough, the next day, William brought Eleanor home. Dad, Mom, this is my girlfriend. Hearing this, Mr. and Mrs. Brown turned their heads and saw Eleanor with smoky makeup, wearing high-heeled shoes and stockings, and holding a cigarette in her hand. The two almost fainted. William stood in front of Eleanor. I really like Eleanor. I hope you can accept her. Mrs. Brown was so angry that she clutched her chest. You want to be with this slutty woman? She's not even as good as Iris next door. At least Iris's family has 5 apartments. But William was very stubborn. Iris can't even compare to one finger of Eleanor's. You don't understand. I've only decided on Eleanor in this life. Mrs. Brown was so angry that she slapped her chest. You're still young. What do you mean you've only decided on her? What if I'm young? This is the first time I've liked someone so much. William took a deep breath. From childhood to adulthood, I've followed you in everything. You just let me make a decision this time. The few of them were in a standoff like this at this moment. A courier just came out from the elevator. 601? There's a courier for you. Mrs. Brown took the document and tore it open. A few times on it were written several big characters. S. City Vocational and Technical College for William. She rolled her eyes and fainted directly when she woke up. This over 50-year-old woman, who always wanted to be superior, burst into wailing. You unfilial son. Are you crazy? You didn't apply to Tsinghua University? What kind of diploma mill did you apply to? Son, you're trying to kill me. Barbwan squatted on the ground. Frowning and smoking worriedly, Mrs. Brown cried and hit William. The doors in the corridor opened slightly, and several neighbors peeked out to watch the excitement. Didn't both Tsinghua and Peking University call you? Why on earth did you apply to a vocational college? Mrs. Brown said, and then raised her hand and slapped Eleanor twice. It's this slut who leads you astray, right? I will never agree to you to being together. Break up with her right now. My parents and I were coming back from outside and happened to see this scene. Mrs. Brown rushed in front of me without saying a word and pushed me to the ground. Iris. You went to the internet CIF to fill in the college applications together. Why didn't you stop my son when you saw him filling them randomly? My mom helped me up and scolded Mrs. Brown. What's wrong with you? Your son's college application has nothing to do with my daughter. Mrs. Brown gasped for breath and stared at our family with hatred. Coincidentally, the neighbor who had been mocked by her before for not being able to get into a key university and being called stupid had watched the commotion for a long time and understood the situation. He finally got his revenge and laughed loudly at Mrs. Brown. Old lady, you look down on my daughter for getting into a second-tier university before. But your provincial top scorer son applied to a vocational college. He's not even as good as my daughter. Mrs. Brown was so stimulated that she immediately grabbed William's shoulders. I've painstakingly raised you for 18 years. You were supposed to go to Tsinghua University. How could you be so muddle-headed? Come on. Let's go to the Education Bureau. Change your college application back. But William didn't move. Let's go. Go right now with me. Mrs. Brown persisted finally. William raised his head. His face was gloomy. He bumped his mother with his shoulder, walked straight to Eleanor's side, and gently touched the red marks on her face with heartache. Mrs. Brown let out an ouch and fell onto Barbwan, supported by Mr. Brown, looking at her son who had grown taller than her without her noticing. She vaguely realized something. What are you going to do? I'm already 18 years old. I'm an adult. William said slowly, I just want to go to the same school as the person I like. What's wrong with that? Since I can become a provincial top scorer. It shows that I'm a genius. The path chosen by a genius is something you ordinary people won't understand. I have things I want to do, and I have a path I want to choose. I hate my unchanging, stagnant life, and I hate myself for always obediently listening to you. From now on, I don't want you to control me. William clenched his fists and skinned everyone around him one by one. His gaze lingered on me briefly and then moved away. He said, I'll prove to you that my choice is right. Eleanor was deeply touched and hugged William. You actually changed your college application for me. Yes, having fulfilled my obsession. I said I'd give you a surprise, that's because I like you. I like you too, William. William rubbed Eleanor's hair and whispered, with you saying that, it's all worth it. They don't understand me, only you do, Eleanor. We'll be very happy together and show them all up. Hearing their conversation, Mrs. Brown finally realized that William had applied to the vocational college just because he wanted to be with Eleanor. Her eyes bulged, with bloodshot eyes from staring, but she could only watch helplessly as William and Eleanor left hand in hand, sweetly. Suddenly, Hutton T said, the elevator door opened, and the delivery guy poked his head out again. There's another package. I forgot just now. The courier handed me another file bag and gave me a thumbs up. Mission notice from Tsinghua University. You are amazing. Girl. Hearing this, William looked over in surprise. Mrs. Brown even lost her strength and slumped to the ground, making an incomprehensible hoarse sound in her throat. My parents happily gathered around me. Well, it seemed that without the variable of William, according to the ranking of grades, I was indeed the last person admitted to the computer department of Tsinghua University in our province. The news that William had changed his college application for his first love soon spread in the classmate group, and even a reporter specifically interviewed him. In the camera, William held Eleanor's hand. As long as I can be with Eleanor, I will never regret it. Eleanor leaned on William's shoulder with a proud smile in her eyes. The class group immediately exploded. Damn. The provincial top scorer really applied to a diploma mill for Eleanor. Eleanor is so lucky. What's lucky about it? Don't you think it's a bit crazy? Respect and wish them well, then. He said he's a genius. How could us ordinary people understand? On the day of the graduation dinner, William and Eleanor naturally became the focus. And everyone was whispering about them. Even the head teacher seemed to want to say something several times but just sighed at the dinner table. I was chatting in a low voice with my desk mate. Unexpectedly, William suddenly grabbed my arm roughly and pulled me up from the chair. Iris, are you being a bitch? In front of all the classmates, William stared at me viciously. What are you talking about? I yanked my wrist free. William said, after I went back that day, I realized that you were jealous of me being with Eleanor. So you deliberately told my mom about my college application. Right? And even spread my business in the classmate group. Do you like me that much? Are you that desperate? I was so angry that I laughed. Are you crazy? Your mom found out about your changed college application because she received your admission notice. Didn't she? Your mom made such a big scene that day. How many people in the community were mocked by her for their grades? And you yourself accepted an interview with a reporter. It's not strange at all that it's spread to the school. I sneered coldly. You're blaming me for something that has nothing to do with me. William. Stay away from me, get lost. Hearing my words, William stepped back in disbelief. My deskmate spoke up for me, with a tone of sarcasm. Yeah. You changed your own college application. Why are you afraid of others talking about it? The head teacher let out a long sigh. William, if you regret it, go back and repeat your senior year of high school. It's better than going to a vocational college. But the head teacher's words were interrupted by William. Mind your own business. You don't know what I want at all. I'm the provincial top scorer. Even if I go to a vocational college, I'll still live better than you all. He grabbed Eleanor's hand. Angrily got on a motorcycle before leaving. Eleanor stuck out her tongue at us as if silently showing off. See, no matter how much you persuade him, it's useless. He only loves me. Soon, September arrived. I stepped into the gate of Tsinghua University, fulfilling my dream of going to a prestigious school. Because I had set my goals early, I was busy every day. I had classes during the day, wrote code at night, did projects on the open source community to build my resume, worked for teachers in the laboratory, and even participated in competitions during every holiday for years passed in a flash. During the winter vacation of my senior year, I went back home. Unexpectedly, I happened to meet William, who was also back in town in his first year of college. He entered that vocational college, became the focus of the school, received a large scholarship, and he and Eleanor were quite well-known figures in the school's literature department. He was rather proud of this after he was interviewed during the summer vacation of senior year of high school. Many people on the internet criticized him for being muddle-headed. Eleanor then took the opportunity to create a self-media account. The daily life of the college entrance examination top scorer and his girlfriend, to record their lives. They used the money earned from self-media to rent a house off campus and live together at first. William still wanted to study hard in college, but Eleanor was completely uninterested in studying. She skipped classes every day with her hooligan friends, went in and out of bars, Katie verses, and arcades, got drunk every night, and was sent back by those hooligan friends who groped her. Because of this, she and William quarreled many times. Don't meddle in my business. I just don't like studying. Didn't you also dislike being disciplined by your parents? Why are you trying to control me now? William was left speechless. The school spirit of the vocational college was chaotic. William, who listened carefully in class, was an outcast and was often laughed at and excluded by others, so he stopped studying and skipped classes to play with Eleanor. Becoming just like the rest of the mediocre students, they only crammed for exams during the final weeks before the semester ended, making a last-minute effort in the first semester of his freshman year. William was a bit nervous before the exams, but when the grades came out, he found that he had casually studied for a few days and still got the first place in his major after that. He took exams even less seriously when an easy path is laid out in front of you. It's hard not to choose it as more and more specialized courses were introduced. The method of last-minute cramming gradually stopped working, so William's requirements for his grades became lower and lower, from initially aiming for the first place in his major to just wanting to pass the exams later. Instead of being ashamed, he even showed off on his WeChat moments. Only a fool would keep working hard all the time. College is just like that. As long as you don't fail the exams, it's fine. Over the past 4 years at first, Mrs. Brown was still unwilling to accept a reality and kept nagging William to repeat his senior year of high school. But William never went home during the holidays and even cut off contact with his family as a way to force them to give in. Eventually, Mrs. Brown compromised. So this year, William finally came home. After not seeing each other for 4 years at first, neither of us could recognize each other immediately. William had gained a lot of weight, was hunched over with his neck forward, had the initials of Eleanor's name tattooed on his arm, had obvious dark circles under his eyes, and had a cigarette in his mouth. The scholarly air that he had at the age of 18 had completely disappeared, replaced by an air of liaisons. During my free time in college while studying, I started learning about makeup, skincare, and fashion, and regularly went to the gym to lose weight and shape my body from being just a plain-looking girl. I had now developed into a rather pretty young lady when William saw me. I didn't miss the flash of surprise in his eyes. "Iris?" As soon as she saw me, Eleanor immediately stood in front of William protectively. Perhaps due to 2 years of irregular work and rest and excessive drinking, her face had lost its shape. The innocent face she was once so proud of was now marked with fatigue, and the nasolabial folds were very deep, making her look rather mean-spirited despite her young age. We shared a taxi home from the high-speed railway station. On the way back, Eleanor suddenly grabbed my wrist, stared at the Bulgari bracelet on my hand, her eyes full of suspicion. "This bracelet costs more than 10,000 yuan. How could you afford it? It must be a fake, right?" I gave her a casual glance. Since my junior year last year until now, I had been intern at a well-known internet company. Plus, with the scholarships I had received over the years and the project shares from the laboratory, I had saved at least 200,000 yuan. Buying a bracelet was no big deal. Why would I buy a fake? But seeing the blatant jealousy in Eleanor's eyes, I just agreed, "Yes, it's a fake. I bought it for 10 yuan at a street stall." Eleanor immediately looked smug. "I knew you couldn't afford a real one." At this moment, William in the front seat answered a phone call, which seemed to be from Mrs. Brown. "Mom, having a silhouette session. Don't worry. I'm sure I can pass the postgraduate entrance exam this time. I will definitely apply to Tsinghua University this time." From his words, I learned that William wanted to pursue a postgraduate degree at Tsinghua University and had just taken the exam this year. Before getting out of the car, William winked at me. "Iris, see you at Tsinghua Nashua." I twitched the corners of my mouth, pulled my suitcase expressionlessly, and went upstairs. During the winter vacation, the atmosphere at William's house next door seemed quite harmonious after William came home. Mrs. Brown busied herself around, showing off with a superior attitude in the community. "My top scorer son is back. He will definitely be admitted to Tsinghua University for his postgraduate study this time. I heard your daughter is studying for a postgraduate degree at a non-top-tier university. I say, what's the point of that? It's better to go home and have a baby." On the day when the postgraduate entrance exam results were announced, Mrs. Brown urged William to check his scores early in the morning. "Quick, wake up, son, check and see how many points you got." William was forcefully dragged out of bed, pushed Mrs. Brown away impatiently and took out his phone with his bare arms. He entered his exam admission ticket number and ID number, and then clicked the query button. A few seconds later, a scream came from the room. Mrs. Gu leaned against the wall shakily. How could you only get over 200 points?" William's hand holding the phone was also trembling slightly. He took out a cigarette and shouted at Mrs. Brown. "Stop yelling, shut up." Then he muttered nervously to himself, "I'm the provincial top scorer. I should have a bright future." On the same day, the girl who had been mocked by Mrs. Brown for years ago for getting into a second-tier university knocked on my door. She smiled at me shyly, saying that she had also taken the postgraduate entrance exam this year, had just checked her scores and could be admitted to Tsinghua University, and came to ask me some knowledge about Tsinghua's specialized courses. I received her warmly. Effort is the most sensible investment a person can make. After the winter vacation ended, I returned to school through bits and pieces of conversations with my parents on the phone. I learned that William had failed the postgraduate entrance exam and had to start looking for a job. At first, he was dismissive. Finding a job is not difficult. I'm the college entrance examination top scorer. But reality soon taught him a lesson. It was already hard for literature majors to find jobs, and on top of that, he always put on a high and mighty attitude, flaunting that he was a college entrance examination top scorer. Even when applying for an ordinary clerk position, he demanded a monthly salary of 10,000 yuan naturally. No one would hire him. Many company HRS, upon hearing that he graduated from a vocational diploma mill, ended the interview without even letting him finish speaking. Sorry. For this position, we give priority to graduates from prestigious universities, but I'm the college entrance examination top scorer. The HR seemed to be amused. Oh, so what if you're the college entrance examination top scorer? You still graduated from a diploma mill, didn't you? During the entire spring recruitment period, William ran around every day, constantly went for interviews but was always rejected. He sat on the subway with his school bag, questioning his life. Only then did he realize the huge blow that his casually filled out college application and his lax college life had brought to his life, but he soon picked himself up again. After all, it was just a failed postgraduate entrance exam and difficulty in finding a job. At least he still had Eleanor at this time. William remembered the self-media account, the daily life of the college entrance examination top scorer and his girlfriend that Eleanor had created. This account had earned them tens of thousands of yuan during the 2-month summer vacation. After a long break, he and Eleanor started updating it again. However, each video only got a few hundred or even just a few dozen views. She resentfully posted a dynamic scolding the short video platform, claiming that it was all the platform's fault for not giving him traffic. There was a comment from one of his fans. To be honest, your videos have nothing new except the gimmick of being a college entrance examination top scorer. They are long, boring, and unedited. In this fast-paced era of booming short videos, they have no appeal at all. William directly exposed this account and blocked the person. Then he thought of his identity as a college entrance examination top scorer again and started a live stream. The 2024 college entrance examination top scorer teaches college entrance examination questions live. This time, he seemed to have found the right track, but when a young high school student with a face took out an exercise book and asked him for the problem-solving method, he was shocked to find that he had completely forgotten the knowledge from 4 years ago. Not to mention that in the past 4 years, there had been quite a few changes in the college entrance examination question types and scope. He stammered, his face turning red, and finally cut off the live stream. Those who had once paid attention to him could only sigh. Soon, June arrived. I graduated from Tsinghua University with excellent grades. This time, I was directly transferred from an intern to a regular employee and successfully joined the internet company that I had only managed to enter after several job hops in my previous life since I had interned for 2 years. The department head had great trust in my abilities and often introduced me to superiors and clients. This is Iris, a graduate from Tsinghua University. She has very good capabilities. With the help of the department head, in the year I graduated, I was admitted to the new project team with the 10 billion yuan investment of the company, where I could fully display my ambitions. As for William, I heard that he finally faced reality and found a clerk job with a monthly salary of 2,000 yuan together with Eleanor. What I didn't expect was that his company was near mine. One day, after work, I went to the mall to buy a bag for my mom. After having dinner just then, I happened to meet William and Eleanor. Eleanor was holding a cup of cheap milk tea, enviously peeking into the luxury store through the window. Just then, she saw the salesperson respectfully handing the bag to me. William was standing behind Eleanor, carrying an old canvas bag. His expression was complicated when he saw me after I paid and walked out of the store. Eleanor grabbed me. Is the bag you bought real? And the bracelet you bought last time was also real? Don't touch me. I took a step back and shook off her hand. The salesperson in the store, seeing me being pulled by Eleanor, quickly called the security guards. Surrounded by the security guards, Eleanor turned her head and shouted at William, "I want this bag too." If Iris can buy it, why can't I? William rubbed his brows. We need to save money for our wedding, you said. I don't care, I want this bag. In the end, William emptied his bank card balance and even took out an installment loan to finally buy that bag. Eleanor smiled happily. William looked at the red-colored balance on his phone, his face showing distress and fatigue. And I just watched from a distance. How ironic, William. In the previous life, you and I had a combined annual income of millions and lived a well-off life, yet you were not satisfied and always thought about Eleanor. I really want to ask, are you satisfied with your life now? Eleanor didn't keep her clerk job for long because of her bad temper. She offended the boss's wife, and William was fired along with her. They started looking for jobs again, but without the status of fresh graduates. The two of them were devastated by the rejection messages from job interviews. They didn't find a job for a whole year and finally gave up. They just lay in their rental house all day, ordering takeout, and occasionally going out to have a free meal with the hooligan friends they met in the bar. Those hooligan friends were not good people. One day, they proposed to take William and Eleanor to do something exciting. Eleanor readily agreed. But they didn't expect that the so-called excitement was robbery. Those hooligans rode motorcycles and became flying robbers, rampaging and robbing on the secluded roads of the city at night. As an accomplice in a robbery for the first time, William was terrified. But Eleanor, who was seeking excitement, clapped and cheered, excitedly counting the few thousand yuan she got. At first William was very nervous, staying in the rental house all day, afraid that the police would come. But as days, a week, and a month passed, everything was fine. So, on a night when the landlord urged them for rent again, William put on a helmet, straddled the motorcycle, and let Eleanor sit on the back seat. Let's go, we're going to rob too. They chose a road where the surveillance camera was broken. At 3 o'clock in the morning, a middle-aged woman wearing a mask appeared under the street lamp. The engine of the motorcycle roared. William's palms holding the handlebars were sweating, and his adrenaline was surging. He felt a bit dizzy and had tinnitus. Everything around him seemed to be spinning. When Eleanor reached out to grab the woman's bag, everything reached a climax. Robbery help. William didn't expect the woman to struggle so violently and even bite Eleanor's arm hard. Seeing Eleanor getting hurt, William jumped off the motorcycle and started punching and kicking the woman crazily. The woman, in pain, let go of Eleanor's arm. Then, as if seeing something, the woman's pupils suddenly contracted, and she stopped resisting. Bang! Bang bang! Sticky blood splattered everywhere. William felt like he couldn't stop. It was not until Eleanor tightly grabbed him, her fingers digging deep into his skin, that he finally came to his senses. He then realized that within just a few minutes, his forehead hair was completely soaked with sweat, and even his helmet had fallen off. During the fight, he told Eleanor to take the woman's bag. He himself slowly removed the woman's mask. In that instant, the world fell silent. William's eyes widened in horror. After a few seconds of shock, he said in disbelief, "Moo? Quick! Call an ambulance." Mrs. Brown had traveled a long way to this strange city to visit her son. To save money, she bought a nighttime train ticket, but she never expected to be robbed and seriously injured by her own son, falling into a coma in the hospital. William wept bitterly in the hospital. Eleanor held his hand and said, "It's okay, at least you still have me." This wasn't the first time William had heard this. When he filled his college entrance examination application with the diploma mill option, he comforted himself that at least he had Eleanor. When he gave up attending classes in college and wandered around bars and arcades with Eleanor, he comforted himself that at least he had Eleanor. When he saw Iris, the neighbor, graduating from Tsinghua University and working in an internet company, living a glamorous life while he couldn't find a job, he comforted himself that at least he had Eleanor. But now, hearing these words, he was really tired. He silently pushed Eleanor's hand away. The hospital started urging him to pay the fees. He borrowed money everywhere and also asked Eleanor for help. Eleanor promised verbally. But that night, through a door, he heard Eleanor say disdainfully, "Yeah, I got bored with him long ago. What does he have besides being a college entrance examination top scorer? He's just a down-and-out loser who can't even find a job, and he's so boring." William burst into the room on the other end of the phone. There was the confused voice of a hooligan friend. And Eleanor herself was being choked by William, pinned to the bed, her face turned red, and her hands and feet flailed in the air. William, with red eyes, said word by word, "You said you'd always be by my side. Then, come to hell with me." William had completely gone mad. I don't know how he found me at this time in the pouring rain. He stood downstairs of our company, soaked through, looking up at the company logo in his previous life. He was a graduate from the computer department of Tsinghua University, starting to work here right after graduation, with a bright future ahead. The corner of his mouth twitched nervously. It was hard to tell whether he was crying or laughing. A drop of rainwater trickled down from the corner of his eye. I was holding a cup of coffee I just bought downstairs, about to go to a meeting, when he stopped me. "Iris, why?" His eyes were full of malice and hatred. "Why didn't you change my college application this life?" He rushed towards me with a knife. Bang! The coffee in my hand fell, and the black liquid mixed with the rainwater, flowing into the city sewer. I pinned him to the ground and shouted for the security guards. "This life, I've had the habit of working out since college and also learned judo in my spare time." William, who had indulged in lust for years, was no match for me. I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "What's wrong? Isn't this what you wanted?" William stared at me in disbelief. You were reborn too?" I just said calmly. "In the previous life, I persuaded you to change your college application. And you wanted to kill me this life. I didn't persuade you to change it, and you still want to kill me." "William, tell me yourself, are you crazy? I don't owe you anything." Seeing more and more people gathering, my other colleagues also came to help. William suddenly pushed me hard, started running, and disappeared into the heavy rain in a sorry state. My colleagues came up to care about me and asked, "Are you okay? Can you still go to the interview later?" I pushed my bangs back. "No problem. I had been promoted to the team leader of the company now, and my annual salary had increased to $200. The project I led was expanding continuously, and we even needed to recruit people constantly. On my desk there was a thick stack of candidate resumes, graduates from Cambridge, Harvard, Tsinghua, Peking, Zhejiang University, from postgraduates to doctors, all kinds were there. William looked down on academic qualifications, but he didn't know that sometimes society is just this cruel. Without a degree, you don't even have the qualification to enter the game. Later, my mom told me that William had been arrested. It turned out that after he killed Eleanor with his own hands, he got a fake ID and went back to his hometown to deliver food. When he was delivering food, one of the orders was to our high school alma mater. At first, he didn't recognize it as our alma mater. After all, over the years, the high school had been expanded and renovated, and the gate had completely changed its appearance. He just impatiently tugged at his sticky, smelly delivery uniform, scolding the student who came to pick up the food for being too slow. But unexpectedly, as soon as he got on his motorcycle, he heard the familiar school bell ringing behind him, which hadn't changed for years. In that instant, William seemed to be frozen in the hot June. The harsh cicadas were chirping. The sound of students reading aloud faintly came from the classroom windows. He suddenly jumped off the motorcycle, stumbled, brushed past several passers-by's shoulders, and with trembling hands, leaned on the tall black iron gate. He slowly took off his sweat-soaked helmet through the gaps in the gate. William clearly saw on the long row of honor rolls on the playground his own name: William, 732 points. Provincial top scorer in 2024. In the photo was an 18-year-old him, high-spirited and smiling shyly with his lips pursed. The security guard in the guardhouse looked over in surprise. He saw this strange young man who seemed to have remembered all the sad things in the world and was crying uncontrollably. He took a closer look and found that this person not only looked similar to the wanted criminal on TV recently, but also exactly the same as the top scorer of a certain year on that honor roll. It was said that when the police came, William didn't dodge or resist. He just laughed softly, laughing at his tragic life. Later, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder, but all of this had nothing to do with me anymore.